All right. Hey, y'all. My name's Abby Zatello. I go to UNF. I am currently majoring in photography there. And I would like to tell everyone a little bit about myself. So I was born in Tampa, Florida. I did move here when I was around 4 years old. So I basically grew up and lived in Jacksonville my whole life. I did go to a local high school, Ponte Vedra, and for those who don't know, it is a little bit more on the preppy side. And as you can tell from my bio picture, I did kind of went against the grain. I mostly hung out with the art kids and, the fun ones. I am currently enrolled in University of North Florida. I did kind of go through a few other schools to find my way here. With that being said, I really was looking forward to doing graphic design before I got to University of North Florida. But then I realized my ADHD would not allow me to stare at fonts for hours on end. So after a lot of mental breakdowns and a lot of conversations with my advisor, my mom, like literally everybody, I made the final and best decision is to go into the photography program. And come to find out, I found out that studio photography and portraiture was my calling. So for my inspiration, I do have just a couple. David LaChapelle, a lot of people know him. He is a very prominent photographer. The reason why I personally love him is for his crazy ideas, his prop use, his colors, the way he does his lighting with a flash. He just doesn't care, and that is something that is very hard to find, I feel like, with artists nowadays. I'm more attracted to the ones that are out there and vibrant. Um, Also, my next is personal experiences. I use art as a therapeutic coping mechanism, where I feel like a lot of artists do as well. Uh, it's not something that's like I'm not upset to share. I am more than happy to talk about it, and you can clearly see it in my artwork. I also am obsessed with Nan Golden. I did find her photos in high school. She's kind of what brought me to that nitty gritty, grimy, grotesque look. Now, she is more of a documentary photographer. I am a studio portraiture photographer, but I still like to have those aspects of that nitty gritty, grimy. And even with, I'm a huge music nut, music posters and videos. I love punk music and all that stuff, and I'm sure everyone here has either saw or heard or looked at something that was punk or rock or whatever, where you're just like, what went through that person's mind to create something like that? And that's what I like to do with my art as well. So for my themes, like kind of how I touched on a little bit earlier, is definitely mental illness, touch a little bit on death, and again, personal experiences. With mental illness more so, especially with how prominent it is right now, especially after COVID. So for my process, I sketch out and I love making lists. So as you can see on the far left, this is my list for my most recent project. It's kind of just jotting down all the different uh, like disorders or mental illness or whatever, to kind of get my brain rolling with how I'd like to see things or maybe whatever spark an idea. And as you can see, next to it, I have these terrible sketches that I was hoping no one would ever see. Um, and they might look really crazy to you, but they make sense in my head because when I see an image in my head, I jot it down very quickly. And this may look like a bunch of chicken scratch, but I can see each photo that I was trying to create with these stick figures. Again, processing was just collecting props and finding models. As of right now, I just mostly have my best friend, and I would like to maybe in the future, once I know other people's schedules and stuff, get some more people in the studio with me. But when it comes to props, Love finding things, love reusing items, don't mind spending money on things that I have an idea for, because then later on I'll reuse it or just return it. But as you can see, this saran wrap, multiple uses. And then on the last photo, I have hot glue and glitter as tears, which obviously didn't burn on her face. It was a nice little eyelash glue application. My post-production, definitely Photoshop all the way. Barely touch anything in my photos. I mostly just touch the contrast and the hue and saturation of some colors with how it affects with the black and white. And then I also love the texture toggle tool in Camera Raw. But really, other than that, I don't do much to my photos. So these are some of my early works. This is the stuff that in high school where I was kind of getting a feel for photography, and I almost put everything up and just went to graphic design. But now looking back at it, I'm really happy I didn't, because these are some of my favorite works for back then. So as you can see, I love the nitty gritty, grimy bathrooms. We love a good bathroom. Fake blood, close-ups, just stuff that no one really likes to look at. And as you can see, a lot of these images are not titled. They're untitled because I like to have people think their own concept of the image. This photo, however, is called View Her As You Must. It is a photo that I won a few awards for, but mostly for the title, because it made everybody stand back and just be like, what's going on with this chick? What's going on in her head? Where has she been? Where is she going? Kind of situation. And it is one of my favorite photos. This is my most recent. It is Mental Illness in Many Faces. So this is kind of touching back on some of the images I showed you earlier that were part of this project. But as you can see, I have the high contrast, the texture, just that very nitty-gritty, uncomfortable photos. And then these are just my favorites, so I thought just circling back to those. And thank you all so much. Hopefully by the end, when I graduate, I would like to be teaching photography, or maybe someday down the road, maybe of my own studio. But other than that, I appreciate y'all, and thank you so much for listening.